So I just joined this hospital, and it's entitled Parent. So I'm at the hospital right now writing this, due to falling and breaking my wrist. I'm not usually an angry person. I'm really chill, just had to put it out there. So while there is this little girl, who's probably no older than 8. I'm on my phone playing a game, while I wait to be seen too, and I overhear this little girl excitedly tell her mom about my phone case. It's a Harry Potter case. So I thought nothing of it at first. However, this little brat of a child gets moody, moaning about being hungry and thirsty. Gradually, her moans and screams about being bored became louder. I'm thinking, is this mother going to calm her down? But she doesn't. Then, there's this older man who's in a wheelchair, and clearly extremely poor in health, where he politely asks the mother if she can please try and quiet down her daughter, which the mother ignores and tells him to walk outside, while looking at him in a wheelchair. To top it off, this little girl screams at her mother that she wants my phone to play games on it. Well, I was playing Candy Crush, and I don't trust people, so of course I wouldn't give her my phone. But the mother said to me, and I quote, "You're an adult, and you can let my child have your phone. You can just buy yourself a new one." And I am like, excuse me. So I said no straight, because I wouldn't, because it has important stuff on there. At that time, I put my phone away in my bra, as no one would dare try, and take it from me, I thought. But this mother said, if I don't give her daughter my phone, she will have to forcefully take it from me. As I said in the beginning, I don't get angry, and I'm pretty chill. But I'm in a lot of pain with my broken wrist, and this mother even said she would forcefully take my phone out of my bra. You wouldn't think someone would actually say something like that. This woman continued and said I didn't need my phone. I'm selfish. I'm horrible and cruel for letting her daughter cry for my phone. I basically snapped. I ended up saying something along the lines of, I'm not in the mood to deal with your brat of a child and you being entitled, then finished off with, you would forcefully take someone's phone out of their bra, basically assaulting them just so your little brat could have someone's phone, because you can't be bothered to shut her up. I might have been a little mean about it, but if you were there listening to this entitled parent calling you all sorts of names because you won't give her child your phone and disturbing very ill patients, you'd snap too. I might be in the wrong here, but I wasn't going to sit and take her attitude.
Am I the asshole for moving myself and my pregnant wife to her parents instead of rehoming my cat? I have known my wife for 7 years, married for 4, she's 6 months pregnant with our first child. I have an indoor-only cat who I raised from a kitten to his current age of 16 years. My wife and I are the only people he's been around regularly. My wife has suddenly developed allergies to the cat. We talked with our doctor and he said sometimes this can happen. My wife wants me to rehome my cat. I don't want to do this. He's old, he only knows me and my wife, he only knows our home. He's not been around other people or animals. I think it will be very stressful for him, and at this age it might just kill him. I offered my wife a compromise. We can stay with her parents, who live 10 minutes away and have no issues with us taking the spare bedroom, until the baby is born, and then if the allergies persist for her or the baby I can look into, very carefully, finding my cat a permanent new home. I'd check in on my cat every day. My wife called me a huge asshole for prioritizing my cat over her and the baby's health. I just don't want to traumatize my cat over something that might be temporary. So am I the asshole? Update from up. None of it matter. After I read the responses to my original post, I started thinking about other options so my wife and I could stay in our home. My brother lives a few hours away and he spent a few years living with my cat when we were younger, so I called him and explained the situation. He agreed to adopt him, but he was out of town, so the soonest he could come pick him up was weekend after next. I told my wife that we would have to keep the cat for less than 2 weeks until my brother gets here, and until then she would have to use allergy tablets or stay with her parents. She became furious and said she was not going to leave our house and the cat had to go ASAP. I told her this was the best I could do. I was not going to give my cat away to whatever random person stopped by first. Yesterday I got home from work and I couldn't find my cat. I asked my wife and she told me, no hesitation, nothing, that she dropped him off at an animal shelter. Her words, I am pregnant and miserable and you wouldn't get rid of him, so I did. I didn't argue. I just asked her to tell me which shelter and drove straight there. I didn't see my cat at the cages in the shelter. When I showed the lady working there a picture of my cat, she started apologizing. She said they put him with the other cats, but later they were bringing in a large dog, which they have to take dogs past the cat cages to the dog cages. The dog jumped at my cat's cage and barked at him, and my cat panicked and had a heart attack. Her guess? He died. They gave me his body in a shoebox. I took him home. My wife started apologizing once she saw him, but I ignored her and went straight to the backyard and buried him. I called my brother earlier today and explained what happened. He started yelling into the phone that my wife murdered my cat and I need to reconsider my relationship. I just feel numb. I haven't said a word to my wife. I don't think I can even look at her. I don't know what I'm going to do. Am I the asshole for wanting my son to give part of his inheritance to his younger half-brother? My husband, Matt, 52M, and I, 46F, have 3 children, a son Andrew, 24, and 2 daughters, ages 12 and 8. When Andrew was growing up, I felt a bit trapped in the role of a stay-at-home mom. Matt was, and still is, a great father and earned more than enough to afford all the necessities and some luxuries too. We had just purchased a new Infiniti which Matt had picked out, but I wasn't happy and was seriously considering asking for a divorce. One day I was involved in a minor fender bender while out shopping. I was driving our still fairly new car and Andrew was with me. None of us were hurt but neither of the doors on the passenger's side of the car could be opened. Andrew was understandably upset, and so was Matt. The guy who hit me, Raul, was actually very nice. We exchanged contact info, and honestly I really enjoyed talking to him. So I began seeing him whenever Matt and Andrew weren't home. Honestly I was happier than I had been in a long time, but I eventually felt guilty. I told Raul that I wanted to work on my marriage, so we broke up. I confessed everything to Matt, and he agreed to go to counseling. Around this time, I found out I was pregnant with a baby boy. We did a prenatal DNA test and it showed that Matt was not the father. I decided to give my son up for adoption after he was born, so that's what we did. Matt and I then had our 2 daughters. I've always felt guilty about the adoption, so a few years ago I did a DNA test and found my son, Diego. I was horrified to learn that grew up in foster care and had an unhappy childhood. He always wanted to know his biological parents. He found Raul and has a good relationship with him. I told Diego that I wish things had been different. Matt's parents, who passed away in 2021 and 2022, left half of their estate to Andrew, and the other half was to be divided between our 2 daughters. TBH, I thought this was unfair, but it's the way they wanted to do it. The girls will receive their portion of the estate when they turn 18. I have yet to begin distributing the money to Andrew, and the reason why is that I feel strongly that half of his portion should go to Diego. I have told Andrew that I would like give half of his portion to Diego because it's the least we can do to make up for the fact that I should never have given him up. He's my son, and the only reason why I gave him up is because I thought it's what I needed to do to save my marriage, but he's had a really hard life as a result. Matt has taken Andrew's side saying that not only is this unfair, but it's against what his parents wrote in their wills. I know that there's the legal aspect, but there's also the moral aspect of me wanting to make up for a mistake I made when I was in a bad place. Matt is now threatening divorce. Andrew has saying some really horrible things about both me and Diego to pretty much anyone who will listen. Is what I'm asking such an unreasonable request?